Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a new Cardfight Vanguard video for you guys today. And today, you guys, we're taking another look at Eugene. So, for anybody that doesn't know, Eugene has got a new support announced, a whole new ride line, and a whole different deck altogether. And I have been messing with it on stream, and I think I finally figured it out. It took a little bit. I ran into a couple hurdles, and I'll explain some of that as we go through the deck. But as always, we'll go through the deck, talk about why I made the card choices I made, and then we'll jump into a game so you can see how the deck performs. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I really appreciate all your support. Enough from me, let's jump into the deck. So first off, you guys will notice my ride line. I changed out the grade 1. The grade 1's not bad, but it is a little limiting. This is the grade 1 right here. Colorful Strike of Duststorm colorless. So technically your grade 0 doesn't matter. There is a ride line grade 0 for Eugene, but I decided to go with, Arhinta because I love the buff Saga grade 0 and I have it SP. That's kind of a me thing. But the grade 1, when this unit is rode upon by the new grade 2, you look at the top 5 of your cards of your deck, choose up to one card with Duststorm in its card name, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. Because this deck is so piece reliant, which unfortunately you guys know I hate decks like that, but it is what it is. A lot of times when you do your mulligan, you're going to be looking for the pieces you want, and then you don't want to have to discard them and then chance them on this. So instead I went for the sure thing with the Vajira grade 1. This thing is just a Soul Blast 1 ride grade 2 for free, so you get to keep all your cards in hand. So it's nice. The grade 2 though, the grade 2 is dope. When this unit is rode upon by a grade 3 with Eugene in its card name, Energy Blast 3, draw 2 cards, choose a card from your hand, put it into the soul. Eugene does use a lot of soul, but giving up 1 soul is not that big a deal when you have other ways to get your soul back. But Eugene's new Eugene. So first off, it's treated as old Eugene, which is great because that means it works with all of old Eugene's support. Once per turn, Vanguard, it's an act. You rest 2 of your rear guards, choose a column, and retire all your opponent's rear guards in that column. It targets a column, so it dodges cards that say they can't be chosen by opponent's card effects, which means it gives them a way to play against certain cards with resist. Cards that still say they can't be retired are different, but that's a whole different animal. Now, Eugene's on attack skill, auto Vanguard once per turn. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 grade 3 or less cards, call them to rear guard in the same column, shuffle your deck, and this unit gains 5,000 power till end of turn. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, and they have 3 or more open rearguard circles, all the units called by this ability also gain 5,000 power. So it has a built-in 4 attacks as long as you can make a semi-decent board, which is cool. I love that. It also can do stuff on its own, because on its own you can just swing and call the dude. The number of rearguards your opponent has does not determine what you get to call. It just determines if you get your power boost or not. And 3 or more open rearguard circles is pretty generous, honestly. Now, as far as the build goes, the only card in here that's a little suspect is this one. We don't really need this guy. He's just here as a just in case. I had a flex spot and I thought I'd give him a shot. If you have a Vanguard Eugene, its card name, you can bind this unit from the rear guard. It's an act skill. Choose up to 2 normal non-sentinel units from your drop and put them into your soul. If your opponent's rear guard was retired this turn, you may put those chosen cards on top of the deck in any order instead. So you can literally stack the 2 cards from your drop on top of your deck to be able to swing with Eugene and then call them right out. So it's cool. It doesn't mess with your drive checks, or it can be used as a soul charge if you do end up burning up too much soul, because we do have some Soul Blast cards. We have our Persona Rides. I will say Persona Ride is really, really important in this deck because you need that extra power for those extra pushes. Other builds with this deck include like Durgim. I'm not using Durgim, and I'll explain why when we get a little later. But the extra attacks, they're so small that you kind of need the Persona Ride to really be able to put any kind of pressure on your opponent. Gabrachio is an old Eugene support card. If you have OG Eugene or the new ones to treat as OG Eugene, Soul Blast 1, rest it, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it. At the beginning of the battle phase, your opponent has 1 or less rear guards, stay in this unit, and it gets 5,000 power. Cool thing about this card, and the reason I'm bringing this card, I'm going over this card's effect, is because this grade 2 does the exact same thing. The only difference is it doesn't care which Eugene Vanguard you have, as long as you have a Vanguard with Eugene. Other than that, it's exactly the same card. It's a great early game card because you can still gain the 5,000 power as long as your opponent has one or less rear guards. It doesn't care what grade your opponent's Vanguard is or what Vanguard you have. You only need Eugene for the retire skill. Being able to rest itself to retire gives you multiple ways to hit different cards. So between these two, Dustin and Stormbrand, wiping your opponent's board every turn or damn near wiping it is really, really easy. And the fact that it can restand itself means you can either rest it for its own skill or you can rest it for Eugene's skill. It'll just restand itself anyway and it'll gain the 5,000 power. Even if you don't rest it, as long as your opponent has one or less rear guard, it's still going to gain the 5,000 power because you always do as much as you can in Vanguard. We're playing Dustin. Dustin's our main beat stick. When this unit is placed on rear guard, if you have a Vanguard with heavy artillery of Duststorm Eugene for a card name, which is the OG Eugene, you put a card from your hand into the soul, you draw a card, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rear guards, and retire it. That part's a little finicky because you have to be careful with that. Like the order you retire in kind of matters with Dustin. He clashes with new Eugene a little bit because, like, say your opponent has a column and then they have a dude in the back row. It's like obviously you'd want to go for the column with Eugene since it's 2, but he only retires grade 2 or greater, so it can get a little weird, but it's negligible. He also puts a card into the soul and cycles a card, so he's also, you know, pseudo soul support. And then his second skill is the real bread and butter auto rear guard. When this unit attacks, Soul Blast 1, this unit gets 2,000 power for each of your opponent's open rear guard circles until the end of that battle. He hits good numbers and he goes great with Eugene's second skill because if you call him off the top, you can still cycle a card and you can still gain the extra power. This is one of the new cards, Brilliant Bullet of Duststorm Ragnet. It's literally a Gabraccio clone. Their skills are basically interchangeable. The only difference is this is for OG Eugene, this is for any Eugene, but again, our new Eugene is treated as old Eugene. We have our 3 PGs, 1 Elementaria down here. Oswald, I fucking hate this card, but it is so good in this deck. It is so good. All right, so Oswald, at the end of the battle that this unit boosted a Vanguard with Eugene in its card name, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater and they have no rear guards, counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand, choose one of your Vanguards, stand it, and increase or decrease its critical and drive to 1 until end of turn. This thing, the reason it is so bonkers, like, the reason I hated this card is because it's the most restrictive restand in the entire freaking game. Your opponent has to have no rear guards, they have to be at grade 3, it costs a counterblast and a discard, and your Vanguard's critical and drive are reduced to 1. There is not a single other restander in the entire game that has that many restrictions. It's like the big one is decreasing your critical down to 1. That's crazy to me. But regardless, with old Eugene, it was weird because it's an 8K booster, so the numbers never really were anything crazy. Like if you use it in combination with Eugene's skill, it would be 31, which, you know, a front trigger is already a 1 to pass. With Persona Rod, it could hit 41, which is decent, but still, it's not, you know, magic numbers. But now new Eugene gains 5K, so now you're looking at 36, 46. So it's just enough to be a little bit more pressure. And it also gives you more flexibility because if you have the 2-point counterblast, you can use the counterblast on Oswald, you have the counterblast for Eugene's skill, and you don't have to use Eugene's skill right away. You can swing, give out triggers, then restand Eugene, then swing with rear guards, then swing with Eugene, then call out a new column. You can do crazy stuff like that. Shenri, this is a retire deck, so we wipe our opponent's board very often. So we're banking on, you know, the opponent having 1 rear guard or less to be able to get the draw. As you see, I don't play any orders. Again, I'll explain when we get to the end. Playing 1 cat, great for defense. We do soul blast a lot, so making sure we soul blast our ride line cards is not a big deal. Clifton is this grade 1 right here. This is a really good card and a really bad card at the same time. So Clifton, when this unit attacks or boosts, if your opponent's rear guard was retired by the ability of your Vanguard this turn, this unit gets 2,000 power until end of battle for each of your opponent's rear guard circles. If you use Eugene's skill, this card's bonkers because you can call this off the top with Eugene's skill and it's an 18K booster or 23K booster if you call it when your opponent's at grade 3 or attacker. So that's solid. And then its second skill, at the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard with Eugene in its card name, retire this unit, choose up to 3 cards from your soul. And if you chose 1 or more cards, return them to the deck and shuffle. If you did not countercharge, this turn, countercharge 1. That second skill is the main reason we play it. It's a built-in counter charger. We don't really need to send cards back to deck anymore. That was more for old Eugene, but we basically keep it for the counter charge. Stormbrand is just good. When you play it, Energy Blast 3, retire one of your opponent's rear guards. If you did not retire, you get to draw a card, gain 5,000 power, so it's built-in draw power. And you can choose this for Eugene's skill as the rest cost, because at the beginning of the battle phase, if your opponent has, if your opponent's rear guard was retired this turn, it just stands itself. We are playing Gradius. I hate Gradius because a lot of decks don't need Persona Ride. Because of what I was saying about the numbers in this deck, it definitely does. Like, all these guys gain 5k, 5k. This is the only one that gains 10k. This gains 5k. This can gain 10k if you retired with Eugene's skill. This gains 5k. The numbers don't get crazy, even off of Eugene's skill, because only one column is going to get 10k. So being able to have a fourth card for Persona Ride can be really important. It also turns on Shenri. I know I was saying we didn't play orders, but that's also why we're playing fronts, because we need the numbers. We're playing Valnut because with this deck, the way it works, you will always have a rear guard to give Valnut skill to. Always. Because you're going to swing with Eugene, you're going to call it a row, and bam, you have a target. Dragon Empire OT is not great in here because it clashes with Oswald really hard. It's a really weird interaction. Like, if you get it on the first swing with the Vanguard, cool, you can restand, but now you lose on Oswald's skill anyway. And then if you use it on after an Oswald swing, you're still stuck at one drive. It's weird. So I just went with an extra attack, since we're always going to have, you know, rear guards to call out. Now, there's a couple cards in here that you guys are probably wondering why I'm not running them, which are Durgem and Best Harvest. The deck can gain a lot of advantage in its own right, and I did not want to depend on Best Harvest. One of my big problems with certain decks, which, you know, Gandiva, old Eugene, is they depended so heavily on Best Harvest, where if you didn't see it, a lot of times you crumbled. It was really difficult to play without it. New Gandiva now is doing pretty well. Like, it still uses it as a tool, but it can definitely play without it. I didn't want to fall into that trap. Durgem can give you an extra attack, but because of the fact that it gains no power if you did not play an order, and you can use it as a 10k booster, it's so weak. And unfortunately, Eugene did not get any good boosters. Like, the best booster they got, it was just gains 5k power, 5k shield, which is this one. I did see some cool stuff with this one. I might mess around with this one. When your opponent's rear guard is retired during your main phase, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Eugene in its card name, stand this unit gets 5,000 power. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Eugene in its card name, it has 5,000 shield. So, like, you could rest it for Eugene's skill, and then it restands automatically. Or you can rest it for it's rested for any reason, it'll just restand. It's actually not a bad card. I saw some people messing with that, but this is what I went with for now. It's definitely subject to change, but I definitely want to show you guys how it plays. So let me know what you guys think of the deck. Let's go jump into a game. All right, guys, we got a game and we're going first. This hand's actually not bad. We're actually going to get rid of Oswald here because it's not live till our opponent's at grade 3. The rest of the hand is solid, so we'll keep the rest. And we got a little bit of defense for the early. Not bad, not bad. Ooh, Naru. Interesting. Interesting. All right, so we're not going to overcommit to the board at all. We're going to get rid of a Ragnet. And we're going to ride Virgilla. I want to keep the defense. We can keep our damage low. We only need 1 damage going into turn 3. So we don't need to take too much. And we obviously don't want to overcommit to the board because of how Naru plays. Do I still want to guard this? No, we'll take it. That's fine. Oh no, a front trigger. All right. Badoop. All right. Verdura's skill. Soul Blast 1. Ride the new guy. Call the Shenri. Can I deal with... Yeah, you know what? Why not? Skill is going to gain 5k. Swing 23. I assume no guard, considering it's a 20k guard for a 1 to pass. I really wanted to trigger there. And I shouldn't have called it. All right, we're good. Now this one, if you attack that Vanguard, we're gonna guard it. Just because, like I said, we don't need the damage. I could also guard with Stormbrand if he does, because I have this. This will let me stack my top 2. So I can get a more powerful... Oh, I don't care though. That's fine. I guess he doesn't know how new Eugene works. Alright. What do I want to discard? I kind of want to discard Stormbrand, yeah. Ride. Now we use the new grade 2 skill, Energy Blast 3, draw 2. And then 1 card from hand to soul. With the way Vermilion plays... Again, I want to be able to build a board, so I want to keep a lot of this. So I'm just going to put this into the soul. All right, main phase. So let's do this. Oh, wait, we can't use him unless we retire one of our opponent's rear guard, so we'll save him. Instead, we'll go like this. We'll call you, and we're going to use you to draw a card. 1, 2, 3, draw, and you're going to gain 5k. And then we're just going to go to battle phase. Skill is going to gain 5k. And we're going to swing. This is one of Eugene's problems, because now we basically can't hit anything without triggers. Swing, skill. I should have swung with the grade 1 first, because I would want to keep the grade 2, but he's going to attack both of them anyway. So I'm going to Soul Blast 1. Look at top 5. We'll call... You know what? No, because I don't want to lose out on the extra attack. And top 5. Top 4, sorry. Oh my god. Maybe it's bad if we just call it over there, because this is not a good top 5. And again, we don't want to commit too much, so we'll just call the 1. At least the attack can hit now. And we gave 5k power. Going second, we would have been okay, because the column cards we would have called would have gained 5k. All right, so Twin Drive, first check, power and heal. Second check, nothing. And then 31. Fine by me. If he keeps the damage low, we'll probably win in the long run. But then again, I guess Vermilion doesn't need too much damage. But I don't think Vermilion's going to recover from getting their rear guards retired as well. So we'll see. He can only hit 2 of my rear guards. So he's going to bind 2. Oh, wait, I forgot that deck plays Latifah. Latifah's a good card for that deck, because it revolves around an order that you can play from the drop. So he looked at top 5, added another Eternal Thunderbolt. Weird, but okay. Normally they would call it a rear guard. I guess I gotta do it again. He played in order. Okay. So I was gonna say Shimry doesn't work because I have 3 rear guards, but because I forgot Shimry also worked if you played in order, which he did play in fact play in order. So now he's trying to use Rising Phoenix to get an extra attack. So he's retiring Rising Phoenix to give something 5k. And now he called out a board, and now he's gonna use Vermilion to give 2 Narukami units 5k. So he's giving it to his Vanguard, and he's giving it to the back row. He also gave the 5k from Rising Phoenix to his Vanguard. I mean, that's kind of a waste, because we weren't planning on attack guarding the Vanguard anyway. In most cases, they won't. And now the front row is gaining 5k because of the grade 2. He's planning on calling Phoenix over it. Do I want him to wipe my board? He's being impatient. He gains a power boost if he wipes my board. So it's like, do I want him to do that? It's a 10k guard. I'll make him work for it. I don't actually care about that. He should have went after the front row. No guard. All right. It does matter because the Phoenix only calls itself when units are bound. Still no guard. Is he going to discard a card? He is. So Vermilion's skill is to discard a card. Ooh, that sucks. Vermilion's skill is to discard a card to deal a damage, but we got the over trigger, so his turn's basically over. I mean, that makes my life easier. All right, Persona Ride. Sorry, I didn't see his last attack. He did it just to draw, because the grade 1 can Energy Blast to draw. I got distracted for a second. But now we Persona Ride, main phase. All right, we're definitely going to attempt to wipe the board. But how are we going to do this? All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I need to think my way through this because this guy can retire one of the front rows. I can call a unit. I'm gonna call this guy and rest it in the grade 1 to retire this column, and then we can use one of our grade 2s to retire the back row. Okay, cool. So here's what we're gonna call. Skill. Put a card from my hand to the soul. But which card do we want to put into the soul? Honestly, I'd rather keep my shields. I don't feel like I need the perfect guard right now. And we will retire. It doesn't matter, the same. Oh, and we got Oswald. Unfortunately, we don't have two counter blasts. Kind of wish I did have 2 counter blasts, but it's fine. We're gonna call skill. Retire column. Then we're gonna go skill. Since we retired, we're gonna bind this guy. Yep. Bind. And we get to stack 2 dudes. So we're gonna put you on top of the deck and you on top of the deck. And then lastly, we're gonna call. And then skill. Soul Blast 1. Rest, retire. Alright, we did it. Everything's dead. Battle phase. Skill, restand. Skill, restand with power +5. And now we're going to swing, skill, Soul Blast 1. Power +10k. Alright. Now we're going to swing Vanguard, skill, Counter Blast 1. Soul Blast 1. Look at top 5. That's funny. I forgot that's the ones we stacked. We're gonna call you top 4, and we're gonna call you. Because our points at grade 3 now, they both gain 5k. So this is gonna gain power +5. This is gonna gain power +5. Skill, Energy Blast 3. We're gonna draw a card and give it another +5. And our Vanguard gains +5. He chose not to guard, so triple drive. Twin drive, I'm sorry. I wish I had triple drive. Clifton, Oswald, perfect. All right. And then we're gonna go 33 to Vanguard. All right, he got it at 43, so his hand's full of triggers. And then 43, which means he's gonna probably take it. Yep. And that's the end of our turn. Now, as you see with what I just did, we did that with minimal resources. That was a 1 counter blast and a we use 3 energy, 1 card from hand, and technically a 1 card, 2 card Soul Blast. I didn't need to Soul Blast for the 30k, but I wanted to really push my opponent. Now it's 4-1. We have all this advantage. We have cards to call out next turn. We have Oswald to be able to push, and we have Clifton to be able to countercharge. Like, we're looking good. He used the energy generator to draw an extra card, and now he's going to energy blast his last 2 to call off the top 7. Interesting that he let himself overcap to 10. You don't see that. Well, no, he was at 9 because he energy blasted 3 last turn to draw an extra card. But now he can't use Thunderbolt. He has Thunderbolt in hand, but he went for building a board instead. Interesting. All right, so these are dead. No guard. Technically, they don't leave till after the battle. Oh, and damage, right. I think he messed up. Ha! He did mess up. So what happened here was, because he played this order, he couldn't play Thunderbolt to bind my cards to call out the Phoenixes, because that's what he was going for. He was gonna Soul Blast 2 and call 2 Phoenixes. I would normally find another game and not show you this game since it didn't finish, but I don't have the time to record another video, so I'm going to play through my next turn so you guys could have seen what I was going to do and how we would have took the game. So I can't go to draw phase, so I'm just gonna do it manually. So obviously he dealt us 1 damage. Even if he had discarded a card to deal us damage, which I don't think he would have, it actually would have helped us. Because in this situation, we don't have a Persona Ride, but he doesn't know that. But we do have Clifton, and we have Ragnet. So our best bet here would be to go to main phase, to use Eugene, to rest both of these, to retire one of their rear guards, doesn't matter which one. Then we would call Ragnet's skill with Soul Blast, retire the other rear guard, and then we could call, move Stormbrand up, and call Clifton. Now going into our battle phase, these guys stand because I retired a rear guard this turn. She stands because our opponent's not going to have any rear guards. She's going to gain 5k. Clifton's going to gain 10k because it's for every open rear guard circle when he boosts. And then we'd be able to swing with this. Clifton retires. We countercharge. We swing Vanguard. We can use skill. Soul Blast. Look at top 5. Call Gabrachio. Whoops. We would call Gabrachio. And since we're at 2 damage, we would probably call Shinri. They're going to come in with both plus 5k power. She's going to come in with plus 10k because he's going to have 1 or less rear guards. And then he's going to gain 5k. And that 5k is for the turn. I forgot to mention that when I was talking about Oswald. That 5k is for the turn, so when you restand with Oswald, it actually makes it stronger. He would have to guard. We would get our Twin Drive. Not a great Twin Drive, but then we can then counterblast 1. I would probably keep the copy of Oswald in case he decides to attack this Oswald with Vermilion. Then we would restand, then we'd swing again. And then we get 1 drive check. But then we also have this 23k line and this 33k line. And then this goes to Soul and we draw another card. And if we didn't kill them by that, and considering he can only attack 3 units at a time unless he went out of his way to kill my rear guards, we then have Persona Ride for next turn. And that was a turn without Persona Ride. Well, we were able to get 5 attacks. You guys also see the problem with the numbers. The only column that really has a decent number is the one that's called out by Eugene after our opponent hits grade 3. All right, guys, here's another look at the deck. Sorry that my opponent left on that one. Like I said, I would have found a better game, but I'm just out of time. The deck has solid draw power and it has a lot of options to call. So as long as you have basically any 2 rear guards, you can almost always make a board and be able to keep on pushing. And Eugene calling off the top, not caring about how many rear guards your opponent has. Even in your worst case scenario, you can still call out a set of rear guards with plus 10k. So I really like Eugene. Let me know what you guys think of the deck. Let me know how you guys are experimenting with it. Again, if you guys want to see a build with Durgem and Best Harvest, I can do that. I'm just trying not to depend on those cards. The deck already sucks with numbers, and Durgem actually makes it worse. Like, damage triggers make me hate Durgem. And then Best Harvest is a fantastic card, but I wanted to make a build that didn't just depend on that one card. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links are down below. If you guys want to see me play with this deck live or see me play other decks live, I stream Cardfight Vanguard on Twitch and on YouTube every Tuesday. My times are getting a little weird, but keep an eye out. I do make announcements about when I'm going to be streaming, so make sure you guys check that out. Thank you guys again for all your support. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.